It is such an honor for me to speak at this great occasion. It is really the best of times and the worst of times. The best being that we have all of these amazing people gathered here today at Rhodes House. The worst being, well, a lot of things, notably the situation in the White House. But I am truly humbled to be standing here today, and honestly, humbled to be here at Oxford. Humbled is the word I used when I was shocked by the news of winning the scholarship a year ago, and humbled is still the word I would use to describe myself today, a year later. Today, I would like to offer some thoughts as someone who is still in the midst of it all, still trying to soak it all in, still trying to experience it all, still trying to make sense of it all. Now, the first word that comes to mind when I think of the scholarship is community. I have scarcely encountered a community as diverse and as interesting as the one here. Where else would I be able to have a conversation about automation and economics 1 minute, then a conversation about China's environmental attitudes the next minute, and then about fractal geometry and set theory the minute afterwards? The community here is so fascinating, so interesting, so cerebral. And it has enabled me to make some of the closest friends and intellectual peers. Friendships I know will last a lifetime. Cliched, I know, but so true. The second word that comes to mind is duty. And with duty, privilege. And it is this idea of privilege and duty that I want to delve into a little bit more. For me, studying at Oxford on a scholarship is one of the biggest privileges I've ever had. I grew up in a low-income immigrant family in the United States. And if you asked me in 2012 when I graduated high school where I would be in 5 years, never in my wildest dreams would I have said I would be at Oxford. And yet it is precisely this privilege that has taught me how to utilize it to do something more. In December 2016, this past winter, I traveled to 5 different towns across the United States, some rural, some urban, to speak with local students from disadvantaged backgrounds, to see if I can help them, and in whichever ways I can. And one of the kids asked me, "How can I be like you? It seems so hard to achieve. It must be reserved only for people who have power and have connections." He was 13 and a minority, already beaten down and defeated. So I told him my story. I told him what it was like growing up, the struggles of being a low-income student who managed to test into a high school not really meant or designed for him, and yet at the same time shouldering the label of a model minority. I told him about the powerful and evil reality of discrimination and racism and how it manifested itself over and over again in my life so far when people called me beef lo mein or sick man of Asia, always telling me to go back to my country. It left a deep impression on me. Incidentally, it's also the reason why I refused to go to Opium Den in Oxford. I told him that I fought back, not physically, but with grit, logic, and reason. I told him if you think something is inevitable, it will become inevitable. If you think higher quality education is only for the powerful, for the rich, then it's inevitably that it's going to become the case. Only by fighting for myself, by proving to myself and others that I'm not going to give up, have I made it here today. And 2 weeks ago, I received an email from that student. He had just invented a new type of solar flashlight and was testing it, and had climbed from the bottom of his class to the top. That's change in my dictionary. I think the Rhodes Scholars' duty to fight the world's fight must start from the local level, even when we live in a globalized era. It starts by going out there to inspire, to help, to excite those around us, who then in turn inspire others. It is this networked approach, made possible by our almost instantaneous access to information and other people, that now defines the fight. I call it a trickle horizontal and trickle up mode of governance, not trickle down, because I don't think that quite works quite well. Governance in short, starts with each and every one of us. We shape the realities rather than the other way around. So I think it is our duty to go out there and use the amazing opportunities we've had to motivate others in action, to inspire them to do something, to take action, to change their behavior. I tell myself, if I'm able to inspire even one person to think differently, to act differently, then I am successful. Fighting the world's fight thus starts locally, and it starts right here. And it's made possible by the connections, by the friendships that I've made here. In the words of Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful tool you can use to change the world. Thank you, everyone. It's been an amazing honor to speak here today.